Joe Giglio for NJ Sports Now on this Tuesday, March the 17th. As spring is in the air, baseball season not too far away, spring training rolling along. But yesterday, for baseball and particularly for fans of the New York Mets, it was a dark day. It was more like a winter day than it was a spring day. The news that Zach Wheeler, who had elbow tendonitis last week, went for an MRI. The Mets downplayed it. The news came out. It is a tear of the UCL, a tear of the elbow. You know it as what will eventually need Tommy John surgery. And now Wheeler going to be gone basically for the entire 2015 season. We'll see him sometime in 2016. Barring a change of the diagnosis, you won't see Wheeler for a while here. The same thing with 5 other pitchers already in spring training. You go back to last year, was a record number of pitchers that went down with Tommy John surgery, including Jose Fernandez from the Marlins. The Mets now welcome him back, Matt Harvey, who went down a couple of years ago with Tommy John surgery and now will be reinserted back into the rotation for this year. But the numbers are alarming. It just seems like every other week you hear about a big-name starting pitcher or a big-name relief pitcher. The Mets also had Josh Edgin go down at the same time here, gone for a full season with Tommy John surgery. And baseball people and really everyone around sports trying to figure out what is going on here and why this epidemic has reached this proportion, why so many pitchers are going down. And you know the theories. You can hear about velocity, the torque on the elbow, pitch counts, throwing too much, not throwing enough. Everyone has their own theory here. One of mine always has been here, the specialization of sports at a young age now. You know, it's not so much anymore kids play baseball, basketball, football. If you're a baseball player and you're 12 and 13 and 14 years old and you really want to try to become one at the collegiate level or professional level, you're playing year-round, especially if you live in a warm climate. And I think these kids get to, college, get to high school, get to the professional ranks when they're drafted. They already have slight tears in their elbow, and at that point, it is a ticking time bomb. I am in the camp that less throwing is better always than more throwing. Wheeler last year, among pitchers 24 and under, had one of the highest rates of going over 100 pitches of anyone in baseball. The Mets didn't quite abuse him, but they didn't treat him with kid gloves either as he tried to work his way into a 200-inning starter. And one of the names that went down over the past few weeks, Yu Darvish, the Japanese pitcher from the Texas Rangers, been one of the best in baseball when healthy over the past few years. He's not healthy anymore. He's going down with Tommy John surgery. The Rangers will certainly miss him for a long time. But I think all of this going on around baseball, all the discussion, all the banter that has been caused by all these Tommy John surgeries should be a springboard for conversation about this, should be a springboard for how baseball goes about changing the problem. And last year, Darvish, who pitched most of his career when he was young, of course over in Japan before coming over to Texas, in Japan they use 6-man rotations, and they have much, much less, in terms of a number of these kind of elbow injuries. They're far less. They use 6-man rotations. You have the one off day a week. So basically, you pitch once a week for the full season. They throw 8-9 innings at a start, so it's not quite about pitch counts or innings limits, but it's about how many turns through the rotation, how often you put your arm and you put your body through that. Darvish last July suggested that Major League Baseball go to the 6-man rotation to alleviate the pressure on these elbows. And you know what? I'm starting to see where Darvish is coming from, and I'm starting to think this should be an option for Major League Baseball. We are in a pitching-rich time. Even with all the injuries, there are plenty of good pitchers around baseball. I mean, the Yankees last year lost half the rotation, stayed in it basically the whole year. The Mets, losing Wheeler, they still believe they're going to be a good baseball team because of the depth they have. There's enough starting pitching depth right now with the way the game is to sustain 6-man rotations, and I think Yu Darvish and what they do over in Japan, they're onto something. And I think eventually baseball will look to this, a team or two will try it, and then it will just become commonplace. Just like once upon a time there was a 4-man rotation, someone started a 5, and all these years later, we have 5-man rotations. All these elbow injuries, terrible for baseball. Losing Zach Wheeler, terrible for the Mets. And all of this should, though, lead to maybe a change. Maybe it's a silver lining, and maybe it's time, and I think it is, for someone to experiment with the 6-man rotation. I'm Joe Giglio for NJ Sports Now.